Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about consistency and why consistency is key for progress. So you can sit at a job and work it for days, for months, for years, and it could just be a dead-end 9 to 5 job, and you're going to make progress with it though. Eventually you might get that promotion, eventually you might get that next step up, you'll get that raise, and you're going to make progress because you've been with the company for so long, and that's how it's going to work. Whereas if you really want to be successful, you have to be consistent in so many other things. You have to be consistent in your fitness, in your health. You have to be consistent in your work. How long are you spending working each day? Let's say you're doing cold calls. You've got to consistently make over 100 cold calls a day. Maybe you up it to 150, maybe do 200. Absolutely drive until you're pushing it. With your diet, again, you've got to be consistent. It's not eating healthy one day of the week that's gonna make you healthy. It's eating healthy 7 days a week with maybe one or two cheat meals. It's all about the consistency at which you want to perform that skill. It's all about how often you're going to be doing it in the future and how much you can perform it until you master it. So if I can consistently make a YouTube video every day for a year, I'm going to beat the person who just makes 365 videos in one day. Because first thing, I've got more time to come up with ideas. Second, I've got more time to edit the videos if I ever want to. Third, I've got a lot more on my side when it comes to growth and consistent growth. If that person posts all their videos on day one, then they're just gonna have 365 videos up. Whereas if I have 365 videos up after a year, then it's different because I've had viewers coming in for a year, people seeing my videos for a year, only the one a day, but they've been seeing it slowly and slowly. So they've been coming in, and more people have been coming in consistently over time. But if you do it all at once, it's not going to bring you the same result. So seeing that consistency is such a big factor in people's improvement and people's performance is a big part. So once you can realize that consistency plays a big part in your life and you start to see where it makes the biggest difference, you start to see, oh, that guy in the gym, the only reason he looks like that is because he trains really hard and he trains consistently, and he has been training consistently for 10 years. You see that guy who works in the business with you, or your boss, oh, he's making a lot of money, but that's because he's been doing it consistently for the last 10, 20 years. It's all about the people that are at the top, the people that are doing the best, the people that are absolutely just dominating. They're up there because they've been consistent with their craft. They've been consistent with what they do, and they've been working at it for years, for decades. They've extended their time scale to look long term. They've been thinking, if I'm consistent every day for 10 years, I'll have this result. And that's because I've put in this amount of effort and my growth is this much over this last year. So if it keeps increasing at that much, they've done the math, they've put in the time, they've put in the effort, and they've reaped the rewards of the crop that they sowed. They've harvested the crop of productivity, of effort and consistency that they planted 10 years ago. And now 10 years in the future, they've harvested that. It's like putting your money into a stocks account. If you get a 10% return every year, after 1 year, it's going to be, so let's say you put 10 grand in. After 1 year, it'll be 11 grand. And then what? Then 12,100. And then 13,300. And it keeps adding on that 10%. And the growth is exponential because it's consistent growth. It's consistent, reliable growth. So if you can bank on yourself making that consistent, reliable growth, then there's no way that you're not going to achieve what you want. So just remember that you are capable of so much when it comes to being consistent every day. If you can just stick with something every day, then come a year's time or 2 years or 5 years time, you're going to be amazing at that thing. You're going to be absolutely dominating compared to a lot of other people that are doing it. So all you've got to do is make sure that you're not wasting time. You're staying consistent with whatever it is, and you're putting in the time and the effort to work on the other skills that are going to help you. So it's not just staying consistent in one thing, it's staying consistent in other things that help you with that one thing. It's staying consistent in learning new methods of doing better in that area. The consistency is key, and that's why so many people fail, is because they can't do it for the long term. They get one bit of failure, they experience one punch to the face from that failure, and they're out. And then they go try and find the next new thing that gives you the same thing again. You have to go through all the learning, and then you take one punch and you back down again and you give up and you go to the next thing. But it's the people that sit there and in the first year, they take all the punches from not being able to do something. They learn, and they have this goal clearly of them succeeding. They have it clearly envisioned in their mind, and they use this as something to push them. But they're consistent, and they experience all the failures they spend a year on this one thing, and the other person spent a month on another thing, and then a month on another, and a month on another. So he's done 12 different things, but he hasn't achieved in any one of them. Whereas the first guy, who spent a year doing his best, experiencing the failures, experiencing the discomforts, finding out what works, what doesn't work, what's more effective, what's less effective, the best way to do this, the best way to do that. He's figured it out over time through consistency. And because what comes with consistency is consistent growth. And consistent growth only comes from failure and finding the new way for something to be achieved. So when you figure out the fastest way for something to be done, you stick with that method. And when you figure out what the most effective way for something to be done, you stick with that method. Once you find the most effective and efficient way for your body to do something, for your business to do something, you stick with that method. And you may keep looking for another, but you keep kind of experimenting, picking and changing things, finding what works best. But it's all about trying the new things and finding what works best for you, your business model, your fitness, whatever it may be. And that's the thing with consistency. It's not how long you can do it for. It's how long you can do it for with experiencing the failure, with experiencing the hate that people may give you for it. That business is not going to work. Or why are you going to the gym? You're never going to look like that. All that hate, some people will just give up after the first comment. But really, you should absorb it. You should just acknowledge it and be grateful that someone's there, and they're almost cheering you on. They're saying that you can't do it because they don't want you to do it. And when you finally go and achieve that thing, you put them to shame. You put them to absolute shame. So just remember that consistency is key for progress, for survival, and for getting better in any aspect. So I want you to go out there, start being more consistent, find something you can be consistent in, find something you can be disciplined in, find something you can learn from, you can take the hits from, something that there's a lot to learn, but you're going to spend a year on it, and you're going to spend time accepting that you're going to do things wrong. Not everything's going to work out, and you're going to make it. So it's just about taking the hits one at a time, figuring out the best method to get back on the horse.